Hey, shalom Israel, Most High in Christ bless you. Hey, it's that time again. We need you to subscribe to the IUIC Phoenix YouTube page, all right? So make sure you go ahead and subscribe right now. We need your help. Shalom.
What club was that at?
That was admit that a lot of people don't even realize they.
I've called her. She hasn't responded. I've called her more than a few times.
But the Zulu Nation, I'm like, what the hell is this? I know nobody know what I'm talking about. You'll leave me on the island by myself. I don't know what the hell Bishop's talking about. That's what y'all do. Then after class, yeah, I knew what you were talking about. I just don't want to be caught out there. The hell is this? Get on my damn nerves. So read that again, 31.
One, two, 1, 2.
All praises to the Most High. We in the building. Brother say we in the building.
All right.
We ought to be unified in the building. That's the point, right? We don't just want to be in the building and be all unorganized. We don't want that. We want to be in unity in the building. Because if we're not organized in the building will fall to pieces, right? Just like slothfulness. It said, through much slothfulness, the building decayeth and droppeth through. So slothfulness can go into many different ways. I haven't given my title yet. I'm just, since brother said we in the building, I just had to say something about it. We got to be in order, brothers. In order for the nation to be what God meant for it to be, we have to take on the true spirit of unity. And when I say the true spirit of unity, I'm not just talking about it in the sense where we chant it and yell it and so forth. There are things that we have to do within our spirit to make us a more unified people. And the better way to deal with being a unified people is to be your brother's keeper. Too often we tend to think of me, myself, and I, but then we want to talk about unity. If you see your brothers and your sisters are going off in sin or whatever the case is, or if their mind is not on the mission, it is incumbent. It's supposed to be incumbent upon us because we're all supposed to have the same goal. We're all supposed to have the same vision. We're all supposed to have the same image of where we want to go. And if I see that your actions are somewhat different from the actions of the majority of us and we're trying to go forward, then it's my job to pull your coat and say, listen, brother, listen, sister, you need to get with the program because we're trying to go forward. You dig it? You got one here, you got 5 people building the building up, but you got one taking the bricks out as you building it. Your building ain't going to last. So everybody got to be on point, right? I just say that. All right, all praises. Sabbath class topic, today's topic. It's quite a long one. It's going to require me to explain it and break it down a little bit. But the title is, or the topic is, time management and the realization of the imagery of our nation. I said, damn, what the hell? Long title, right? But we're going to go through it. We're going to go through these things. There are certain elements within this title that we're going to touch throughout this class. We're going to deal with the realization of the imagery and the imaginary force that's supposed to be in your mind in terms of having an image of setting up the kingdom. We have to have an image of what we're looking for in order to go towards it. Okay? And I said time management. Time management is that we have to learn how to operate time. We have to learn how to schedule. We have to learn how to operate in order. You cannot have anything, no kind of order, no kind of structure, no kind of unity, nothing without time, without the adherence to time. All right, what time was that? Y'all all right?
Yes, sir.
All right, all right. So, say it again. The title is Time Management in the Realization of the Imagery of Our Nation. I wasn't even thinking about a YouTube kind of thing, but I imagine it's going to be quite a bit to put on a YouTube. But I really wanted this class to be more of not only a class per se, but I want it to be informative, educational. I want it to be a class that provokes thought. That's what I wanted it to be. So it's really I don't want to use the word lecture, but it's a lesson that involves various trains of thought. Okay. Give me the book of Isaiah 49 and 6. Let me start with that first. No. Hold that. Don't read that yet. I want to say this and then I'll start. My first scripture is going to be Psalms 83. I got to start from where we have to come up from a destroyed state. We have to come up from a state of us not being organized, from a state of us not having a vision, from a state of not having the management, the time managing aspect. We don't really deal with time too well. Okay, they call it color people's time and stuff like that. You know, those things should not be named among us. There should never be a situation where somebody say, "Oh, why did you get here late?" Well, you know, it's colored people's time. That is an insult. That is an absolute insult. I absolutely detest that statement like a sickness, because it says that it actually puts us on a lower plane from where we actually belong. We are the people of God. Why in the world are we talking about some colored people's time? That should not be named among us.
That's right.
We have an obligation. All of us as the Israelites, we have an obligation to be as the Father created us to be. Let me say that again. Our Father, the Most High, through his Son Jesus Christ, is our Lord over us. He has given us certain directions, certain guidelines. He gave us our customs. He gave us all of these beautiful rules and commandments, statutes. He gave that to Israel. And we're supposed to adhere to that thing and want to be much more closer to our Creator. Last week, I was teaching on a class called about the atonement, that we ought to become at one with our Father. And that's where we have to yearn to be that. We have to always strive to be what we were made to be. Okay? So I say that because that needs to be our focus. That needs to be our goal. We are not just ordinary people. We are the people of the Most High. We're supposed to be above everybody. I know it sounds racist and all the rest of it. I don't care about how it sounds. I'm going to tell it how it is. The Most High said that we are the apple of his eye. He said, I have chosen you. So we have to act accordingly. And whenever we don't see that going on among us, we need to turn to each other and say, listen, you need to get on point, because we are the people of the Most High, man and woman. That's what we have to do. That's why I say it's supposed to be incumbent upon us to go to our brothers, to go to our sisters, and say, listen, we all supposed to be moving in this direction because we are the people of the Lord. Right? Psalms 83, verse 2 to 4. Psalms 83, verse 2 to 4.
Yes,
we're
sir.
ready to get into it. And like I said, I'm going to break down the title. So I know it's long, but we're going to get it in.
Psalms chapter 83, verse 2. For lo, thine enemies make a tumult.
We have enemies, Israel. We have enemies, and our enemies have had a gathering, a tumultuous gathering on how to keep the Lord's people in derision, how to keep the Lord's people in destruction. I'm getting a lot of that popping again. Take some of that bass out, brothers. Okay. Read it again.
For lo, thine enemies make a tumult.
Thine enemies make a tumult, because they know that we are the people of the Lord. And all of the nations have come together. They have come together with one consent to make sure that we never come back to who we truly are. And the nations are enjoying their rule over us because we're still asleep. We're still asleep, not understanding the value of time, not understanding the value of imagery. We don't understand the value of nationhood because our enemies did that to us. But it is our job to fix that. It is our job to rise up from the ashes, to fix that. Don't wait for somebody else to tell you about it. It's supposed to be in you. It's supposed to be in us. Read that again.
For lo, thine enemies make a tumult.
Come on.
And they that hate thee have lifted up the head.
They have lifted up their head against us. Go ahead, to keep us in derision, like the wisdom of Solomon talks about. Solomon, the 5th chapter. Read on.
They have taken crafty counsel.
They have taken crafty counsel, because it takes crafty counsel to keep God's nation down. Because we are the people of the Lord, and they had to always keep a heavy watch over us. They say you can't leave them alone too long, because they're going to start thinking. They're going to start trying to mobilize. They're going to start trying to put things together. So they have to keep a serious watch on us, because they know our potential. But they try to tell us that even though they know our potential, they don't want us to know our own potential. Oh, you're just colored folks. You just this, you just that. All them derogatory names they give us. But in reality, they know who we are. Read.
They have taken crafty counsel against thy people.
Against the Israelites. Read.
And consulted against thy hidden ones.
And that's what their consultations have led to us being hidden. Hidden our nationality, hidden our customs, hidden our ability to even think. Hidden our ability to even imagine greatness, to even see greatness within each other. Hidden our ability to even want to unify with our own brothers and sisters, even though we're in the pot boiling together. We're in the pot boiling together, and we don't want to help each other. That's what that crafty counsel did. But there's a new day, and this is a new day, and the Most High is getting ready to shine big time light on the nation of Israel. Read.
They have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation.
Come on.
That the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance.
So when you got a people that don't know who they are, you can make them believe that they're anything. You're black people. You're colored. You're Puerto Ricans. None of those names are in the Bible. But you can affix those labels on a people who have been destroyed from their connection to who their real creators are. When they find out their real creator, when they know where they really come from, that's a confidence that comes from knowing that they came from this Father. That's a confidence when they know where they came from. But if they was to cut that off, what happened to the mic? It dropped down? When we get cut off, we lose that connection, and then somebody else steps in and says, listen, you're not who you thought you were. You are Negro. You are Puerto Rican. You are Cuban. You are Mexican. You are Dominican. And then we begin to subscribe to that. That's what the nations have done to us. Y'all all right? Read that last statement again.
Verse 4. They have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance.
That the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. So many of us might have been thinking that we are never going to get out of this. And the reason why I say that, because I'm talking about us. Even among the nation of Israel, among us in IUIC. A lot of our, well, I ain't going to say too many, but I know a few of us still have not been converted to know that they're the Israelites. Some people are just here. Y'all understand? Because that doubt is still there. In name only. Thank you. In name only. So that word, that is going on in a lot of the minds of our people. Still going on, as quiet as it's kept. Because here's how you know. We understand the commandments. The commandments tell us how to live, what to do, what not to do in clear, straight up English. Why in the world are we going to get caught up in the most heinous craziness and the foolishness that we end up getting caught up in? If you know these things, it's because somewhere in your spirit you have doubt. And you're not supposed to have doubt. The Most High saw it fit for you to be brought into this truth, and you need to hold on to that. None of us are here by an accident. And you have to make your calling and your election sure. That's male and female. Okay, I want y'all to remember that. Read that again, and we're going to move on.
They have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance.
The objective of cutting us off from our name is to say to cut you off from your father. When they said that the name of your father may no more be remembered, that means we can make you anybody's child. We make you the child of Esau, make you the child of a Negro, make you the child of Puerto Rican, make you the child of Dominican, make you the child of West Indian. And you'll call yourselves that because your real fathers have been cut off. That's what we just read here. Read it again.
They have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation.
Go ahead.
That the name of Israel.
That your father's name. Jacob. That your father's name may be what?
May be no more in remembrance.
I mean, the children of Jacob will not know that Jacob is their father. So what we will end up doing, we will start gravitating to other fathers, so to speak, other philosophies, other quote-unquote nationalities. And these are the things that's got us all messed up. So when we bring our brothers and sisters back together, we're trying to let them know who their real fathers are, trying to bring them back to their creator, trying to get them connected back to the Father that put us here. And we have to do that. And until we really do that, you're going to always have problems in the spirit. Because if you don't feel that connection, you're going to always be tempted by something that say, well, you know what, I wasn't really with this anyway. You feel me? You have to know. You have to be taught. You have to be brought into your real nation. And once you know what your real nation is, you will live accordingly. You will feel that confidence. And that's what you have to have. But that confidence cannot be just on you yourself. All of us have to share that confidence in unity. So if I'm confident that I'm Israel, and I see my brothers going off, and I know he's Israel or she's Israel, I need to go to them and say, listen, brother, listen, sister, I know you're struggling with this, you're struggling with that, but you're my people. Let me help you take you back to our Father. You dig it? That's how we have to do it. So that unity is very big. I just may make that point. So with that being said, give me Psalms 50 and 21. Because what we just read here was that the nations have came together to say you are not to be connected with your father anymore. And we're going to give you Baptists. We're going to give you Jehovah's Witness. We're going to give you Islam. We're going to give you all of these different things. And we gravitated towards those things as if those were our fathers. And we left our father alone because we felt abandoned. Okay? Read.
Psalms chapter.
Hold on. Go ahead.
You said something, and it made me think of this scripture. You said we got to go and make sure that we focus on the Father. Mm-hmm. And that's where that stuff comes from, right?
Yes, sir.
Let's get 2 Corinthians 3 and 5. And read that real quick.
2 Corinthians chapter 3.
Start at 4.
Verse 4. And such trust have we through Christ to Godward.
Come on.
Not that we are sufficient of ourselves to think anything as of ourselves.
Right. It's not. When Bishop's going into the levels of, it's like we're Israelites in name only. Mm-hmm. You're thinking that all this stuff, and even just the ability for us to come together the way we do, comes because of your own effort. Everything is connected to that source, which comes from the Father. All right? We are here. We are not destroyed. We are not consumed only because his ways and his thoughts are higher than ours. A Negro would have turned his back on us a long time ago, right? But our Father don't act that way. And he made his promise to our forefathers and our father, Israel, Jacob, and he said, I'm not going to deter from that. But we have to reconnect to that source. Read.
Not that we are sufficient of ourselves to think anything as of ourselves.
Come on.
But our sufficiency is of God.
Our sufficiency is of God. Our sufficiency comes from the Lord. And that's the connection that we got to get back to. Yeah, you got all this time management, all this other stuff, but we got to get it back into the imagery of the nation, right? You got to start to visualize it, and it's all here in how we go into the scriptures to get all that stuff. That's been kind of one running theme through all the engagements that we've had so far, from the FOT class to the men's conference, even on the fireside stuff. That's like a thread. That's something in the spirit that Bishop Yawasop and the bishops is trying to kind of bring to us as we move forward in that.
All praise to the Most High. That's right on point. So we read out of Psalms 83, And we've read how the nations have come together to make sure that we are not connected to our Father. That's the reason why they say get rid of the name of Israel. You realize that you can call yourself anything and it's no problem at all. Men can say that they're women and they'll pass laws for you.
That's right.
Men, women, you can say anything. You can say that you're a bat, a fish. You can make up anything and you'll be protected. But if you say that you're an Israelite, all of a sudden they come against you. They try to pass laws to stop you from saying. That's letting you know the war that we're in. You can call yourself anything else. Think about that. They got many examples. I remember I saw one thing. A guy got pulled over. And he said, well, who are you? And the man said, I'm a white woman. Black man said, I'm a white woman. And it was like, no, you're not. He said, I am, because I'm going to, he was basically saying what did they do? How they said that they could self-identify. You understand? So a lot of people are trying to actually do that these days. And in some circles, they actually say it's okay. Here's a man coming up talking about he's a woman and you better address him. Don't call me sir. Call me ma'am. So you're big, hairy behind. What the hell are you talking about? It's ma'am. The hell? And they say you're homophobic if you say. So understand the effort that they'll go through to allow you to be anything else. But if you say that you're the Israelites, now all of a sudden it's a problem. That goes back to what we just read in Psalms 83, right? So I point that out because of the efforts that we clearly see, the onslaught of all of the traps, all of the systems, all of the different components of this society, all work in unison to keep us from not connecting back with our Father. Everybody knows that. Yeah, play this thing here, man. Lord have mercy. Watch this. There's some instant illustrations. Here we go. Boom.
Excuse me, sir. There's a young man.
Excuse me, sir.
Excuse me, it's ma'am. It is ma'am.
I can call the police if you'd like me to. You need to settle down.
You need to settle down and mind your business, okay? Ma'am, once again, ma'am.
I said both of you.
No, you said sir. Once again, it's ma'am.
Stop. He said, maybe you're confused. He said, I want to make sure I don't mess up. So I'm going to say both of you. I'm going to say man and woman just to be politically correct. He still got mad. They can't see it? Oh, man. So what in the world? Come on now. Oh, Lord have mercy. So they can't even see it. This ain't even right. Damn, what kind of unity is this? Yeah, put the link, huh? Lord, come on now. I'm up here laughing and cutting up, and everybody looking up at me. They said, that ain't fair. They get the laugh at it. We don't get the laugh. They said, where's the unity? Where's the love? So, come on now. All right.
You mind if I touch on something?
Yes, sir. Come on, Bishop. You know it.
All right, so based on what Bishop was talking about, when he made the point concerning we can call ourselves anything but Israel. Why is that? Okay, I'm going to say this again. I like responses. I don't like to seem like I'm talking to myself right here. No, right behind you.
Shalom leadership, Officer Ira, IUIC Bakersfield. The reason why is because they want us to lose the connection with the Father, just like our bishop was bringing out.
Okay. Notice to keep the mic. That's true. That's true, I should say. But what is the problem with it?
The problem with us losing the connection with the Father, then that's when we lose our power.
Right. And when we're connected with him, we have what?
We got power.
Okay, let's go to Deuteronomy 28 real quick. Did you have it?
No.
Okay. I want to read Deuteronomy 28, verse 10.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 10. And all people of the earth shall see that thou art called by the name of the Lord, and they shall be afraid of thee.
That's why. Because when we call by the name of the Lord, Israel, they're going to be afraid of us. Because what is attached to that fear is because of verse 7.
Verse 7. The Lord shall cause thine enemies that rise up against thee to be smitten before thy face. they shall come out against thee one way and flee before thee 7 ways.
If you are called by his name, the Lord said you're going to defeat your enemies. Because along with the name comes what? Okay, but along with the name comes understanding your heritage, which is the laws of God, which activates that power. So when they see you calling yourself Israel, they're like, okay, these Negroes is waking up. These Hispanics is waking up. They know who they are. They're tapping back into their power. And they changed the name. And now we got a problem. But if you want to be a he, she, or whatever else you want to be in this earth, you can be anything you want to be but Israel. And that's what we're undoing right now. We're rerouting this world back where it belongs to us. And it begins with coming back to these laws and surnaming ourselves Israel. You understand? Our praises. All right, Bishop.
And it's an important thing to note with all of what you just heard, is that whenever, because like we were just bringing out, you can be any of these things. And the reason why it's okay, because regardless of which one of these avenues you go in, you're still in captivity.
Yep.
So that's the point. They don't want it, because if you was to go into that and be free, then it's a problem. The only freedom that we're going to get is when we return back to our maker. Whenever we associate with anything else, like I said, man could call himself a woman, woman could call herself man, and whatever. All kind of, they even give you free operations to help you get it done. That's crazy. But they'll go that far to keep you in captivity. But they won't allow you to, well, they're not stopping nothing, but their objective is for you to not learn who you truly are. But the Lord got a different plan. Okay? They're not going to stop this truth.
Because there is a set of men on this. Turn my mic. Mm-hmm. The reason it's not going to work, because there's a set of men on the earth that's rising back up who don't give to what you think.
Right.
We about the Lord's business. We're not in it for popularity. We don't care if you don't like it. It doesn't matter. We're going to force this down your throat. We the Jews. We Israel. And the earth is ours.
There you go.
Sick and tired of... Anyway, let's go.
Yeah, you're tired of captivity, ain't you?
I do. On my back, like...
We all are.
Sick and tired of this bullshit. I'm sorry.
Hey, but that's what it is. Mm-hmm. You know, the Lord gave us, because here we are, we're in the Feast of Tabernacles. And every feast that we've had, at least lately, we've always made a point to reflect how the Most High is going to build a nation out of us while we're in the wilderness. Because you take it all the way back to us coming out of Egypt. When we came out of Egypt, we went into the wilderness. And the Most High made a nation out of us right then and there. And a lot of us was, like the scriptures say, the Lord was not well pleased with many of our people because our people refused to do what the Most High told them to do. So these things were written for our examples, okay? So here we are again. We're practicing. We're rehearsing the righteous acts because when we leave here, we go into the wilderness again. So this right here is us rehearsing the righteous actions. And the Most High is giving us our heritage back and teaching us how to become one with him again. That's what Tabernacles is about. I mean, all of the different points that Bishop brought out the last time he brought it out, what was that? A couple of nights ago when he was going into how we supposed to save up our crops and different stuff like that. All of those were the components of what we did while we were in the Tabernacles. But the Tabernacles itself is about us learning how to operate as a nation before we actually set up our own nation. That's what we really have to understand why we're doing what we're doing. Mm-hmm. Knowledge is power, as they say. We're not just mouthing it. We know why we're doing this. We know that the Most High is forging an understanding of how it is to operate as a nation. That's what we're doing here. We were talking about the different teams and the different departments. You know, while we were here, the brothers was dealing with the trailers and the waste areas and all of that. That's just on that. Fire safety. You're going to need all of these things when we go in the wilderness. Mm-hmm. We're going to need all of these things when you set up your own city. We're going to need all of these. You're going to need all kinds of departments, workers, skills, all of these. This is what we're doing here now. And all of us are supposed to have that collective understanding and appreciate what you see with these different departments. That's the beginning of nationhood. That's the unity that we're supposed to understand. You don't give the person that's building the buildings and the houses, you don't give them a hard time because you're going to have to live in the house. All of the different things that these different people are doing, these are the things that's going to be needed all the way up until we get into the kingdom. So that's part of nationhood. But our enemies never meant for us to learn any of this at all. At all. Psalms 50 and 21.
Yes, sir. Psalms chapter 50, verse 21.
Like I said, the Lord had a different plan. Our enemies meant for us to never get connected back to our Father, but our Father said, I'm going to reach my children and I'm going to teach them. Read.
These things hast thou done.
These things have our enemies have done. Go ahead.
And
meaning of being against us, setting us up, lying to us, misusing us. Go ahead.
And I kept silence.
And I kept silent. The Most High watched. He watched and he kept silent. You know what it means when it says the Lord, he watched and he kept silent? Let me give you an example as how a father would feel. Because we're talking about our father, right? We got to get connected back to our father. Jacob goes all the way back to the Most High. We got to come back to our heritage. I just drew a blank. Well, read it again. Read it again. I got to get my thought back.
These things hast thou done, and I kept silent.
And I kept silent. Romans 9. I got my thought back. Romans 9 and 22. These things have our Father watched these enemies do this to his children. We are his heritage, and the Lord watched how they did us. Romans 9:22.
Romans chapter 9, verse 22. What if God, willing to show his wrath?
What if God, our Father, willing to show his power? Go ahead.
And to make his power known.
And the Lord wants to make his power known because everybody's praising Esau and praising the nations. They're not giving God his glory, including the Israelites. We're not doing that. Go ahead.
Endured with much long suffering.
That's the part right there. The Lord has endured. As he said, when he watched and he kept silent, he endured with much long suffering. Go ahead.
The vessels of wrath fitted for destruction.
Fitted for destruction. Fitted to destruction. Does it say 4 or 2?
Fitted to destruction.
Fitted to destruction. Read it again.
What if God, willing to show his wrath and to make his power known, endured with much long suffering?
The Lord have endured with much long suffering. Now I'm going to give it to you in layman's terms. You all have children, correct? Some of you. You watch your children grow, and you have a certain heritage set up for your children to inherit. But then you watch them go off the scene. You watch them getting caught up in madness and foolishness. Meanwhile, somebody else is coming in and step in, and they're acting like they're the children. But you're the father. You don't want to see your children go off. You don't want to see your offspring go into madness and craziness. As a father, you'd be very upset. So that's how the Father feels about us. When he sees a nobody walking around calling himself you, and the real you is on the bottom like servants on the ground, like Solomon said, I have seen servants on horses, meaning in the power seat, and princes walking on the ground as servants. The Lord is mad about that thing. He said, you're the princess, you're supposed to be on the horse. But he said, no, because my people broke the laws of the Most High. Now I'm going to let them be on the bottom and let these people who ain't supposed to be there, they get to walk around and talk about how great they are. That made the Lord mad. Read it again.
Romans chapter 9, verse 22. What if God, willing to show his wrath and to make his power known?
The Lord wants to make his power known. Come on.
Endured with much long suffering the vessels of wrath.
So the Lord endured with much long suffering because he hated to see somebody else that's not you parading themselves as you. And the real princes is walking as servants upon the earth. Give me that. Was 10 and 7. Ecclesiastes. Who do these cups go to? Y'all doing it? Okay. Ecclesiastes 10 and 7. This is another thing about when the Lord said he kept silent.
Ecclesiastes chapter 10, verse 7. I have seen.
Give me verse 5 first.
Verse 5. There is an evil which I've seen under the sun, as an error which proceeded from the ruler.
Listen, this is Solomon. He sees a vision of a fool getting ready to rule this planet. Read it again. But yet this fool is over us. The vessels of wrath is over us. The Most High made him to destroy him. That's his whole purpose of being created. You was created to be God's jewels. Read.
There is an evil which I have seen under the sun, as an error which proceeded.
As an error. As an error. That what?
Which proceedeth from the ruler.
From the ruler, meaning the fool is sitting in a king's seat. Go ahead.
Folly is set in great dignity.
Folly is set in great dignity. Like everybody looking up to, a daggone fool is ruling. Go ahead. Folly is set in great dignity. Read.
And the rich sit in low places.
That's us. We're the rich, but we sit in low place. In low place. That's why Revelation said what it said. But thou art rich. I know thy works and poverty and tribulation, but thou art rich. But we're sitting in a low place. And I know the blasphemy of them that call themselves Jews, meaning call themselves us, and they are not, but they are of the synagogue of Satan. All these scriptures are saying the same thing. Read.
I have seen servants upon horses.
I have seen servants upon horses. Go ahead.
And princes walking as servants upon the earth.
A servant is a slave, and a prince is a ruler. What in the world are we walking on the ground as like we're the servants, and a slave is above us? That's what the Most High is telling you. Read it again, the 7th verse.
Verse 7. I have seen servants upon horses, and princes walking as servants upon the earth.
So we are way off from where we're supposed to be. That's the reason why I'm having these things read. Now go back to the Psalms there, because it ain't supposed to be that way. And we're supposed to know that, and we're supposed to carry ourselves that way, knowing that we're not supposed to live in mediocrity. We're supposed to know that we're not supposed to be subscribing to, oh, that's colored people's time. You're supposed to expect the best out of yourselves. The absolute best. No second guess. The absolute best. And expect that from each other. That's what we're supposed to do. Why are you expecting so much greating out of me? I'm just a nobody. No, that's bull crap. I don't want people coming up to me talking to me that they can't do this and they can't do that. I say, I know the spirit that's in you. And there's greatness in you. And why haven't you found that out? Do not bring your mediocre spirit around me. I want to see the absolute best out of you. Because I have high expectations from you. Read.
Psalms chapter 50, verse 21. These things hast thou done, and I kept silence. Thou thoughtest that I was altogether such as one as thyself.
Yeah, because they call themselves us, but the Most High ain't with them. Read.
But I will reprove thee.
He said, I'm going to correct you for thinking that way. The Most High is getting ready to correct all the nations. Y'all thought that y'all was with me? Y'all thought that I was with you? He said, I'm getting ready to correct all of you and let you know where my heart really is. Read that again.
But I will reprove thee.
But I will correct all the nations who thought that I was with them and not my people Israel. Go ahead.
And set them in order before thine eyes.
So irregardless of what the nations wanted to do, how they have come together with one consent that the name of Israel may be no more in our remembrance, all of that, the Most High said, irregardless of all of what you've done to destroy my heritage, I'm going to set my heritage up right up underneath your nose. I will set them up before their eyes. Read that statement.
But I will reprove thee and set them in order before thine eyes.
Do you see that? So that's how the Most High is going to do it. Now I'm going to explain the title. Like I said, time management. That's a segment of the title. Then I have in the realization of imagery of our nation. So now we need to understand the realization of our nation. In order for us to aspire to do anything concerning unity, we have to have an image of where we want to go. Your image is going to come from your history. You ready? You about ready? Your image is going to come from knowing your history. Is going to know is you knowing your heritage, to know the greatness that you've come from. That's the reason why our enemies wanted to cut that off, so that you won't have that connection. But once you understand what that connection is, and you get to see how we were operating then, now you have a model. Now you have an image. Now you have a vision on how you need to do things, on how you need to come together, on how you need to organize, and how you need to set up order, how you need to set up structure, how to set up infrastructure, how to set these things up. Because that's what we're doing out here in this tabernacles. There's an infrastructure that's happening right here, right now. Just imagine if there was no order with all of y'all out here. Could you imagine what this place would be? Just think about it. No order nowhere. No guidelines. Tents will be all over the place. What tents? You might have, I don't know what it, but you will have chaos everywhere. You will have chaos everywhere. No order, no laws, no knowledge, no nothing. Sin, 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 evil, evil, evil. That's what we would have. So there is an infrastructure that have gotten us to a level of order of which I see right now. But this is just the beginning. Let's give you some examples of us realizing the imagery. Okay? Come on, Deacon.
Shalom, shalom. All right. Before I get straight to the point, I just want two scriptures I want to bring. Let's get Sirach 49, and let's read 4. And then I want, was it Job 8 and 8 you went to last night? And then I want Job 8 and 8. Let's start with Sirach, though.
Sirach, chapter 49, verse 4.
Uh-huh.
All except David and Ezekiel and Josiah.
Well, that's Hezekiah when he says Ezekias. So go ahead, come on.
Were defective, for they forsook the law of the Most High. Even the kings of Judah fell.
Right. So looking at this in a positive aspect, it says David, Hezekiah, and Josiah were great examples when we had rulership. Why am I looking at it from the point of rulership? Well, we're looking at how we get organized as a nation, how we rehearse these righteous acts as a people, and how we move. Now, Job 8 and 8. Bishop brought this out last night. We have to connect back to the Father. Job tells us we have to search out our fathers. We get a pointed direction here. And the reason this is coming out, Bishop asked me before the class, he said, if you had to look for an example of what would be the perfect example of how we're moving organized, how we're moving in the imagery of our nation. And I said, well, that's kind of hard to articulate. I said, what comes to my mind is David's rule. Because David set up the foundation of a lot of order for all that was to follow. And I gave him some examples, and we're going to go into it in a second, but read Job 8 and 8.
Job chapter 8, verse 8.
Uh-huh.
For inquire, I pray thee, of the former age.
Right, so we have to do that more often. I think a lot of times we think a lot of these things, a lot of these gifts come from us. All these things are found in the scriptures and how we moved as a nation. And what better example to look for than the kings like David, Hezekiah, and Josiah? Because I said all of them were no good except for those three. So I'm going to focus on those three to see how we do things right and how they ordered our people in order and in structure the way the Lord wanted us to do it. Go ahead, read.
And prepare thyself to the search of their fathers.
And prepare ourselves to the search of their fathers. We look to the forefathers. So I'm going to give you some examples. Let's go to 1 Chronicles 26. We're going to start at 1. I'm not going to read all of it because it's a lot of naming. I'll read some of it, and I'm going to show you the various offices and how the foresight, the way the Spirit of the Lord was moving with David to order all these things up. All right, go ahead. 26 and 1.
First Chronicles chapter 26, verse 1. Concerning the divisions of the potters.
Of the porters, right? These were the various offices that you had porters for, right? You could bring that up to today and put whatever you want. The manifestation of that we're doing here in IUIC now is the stewardship program. Porters and stewards are synonymous here in what we're doing. They're caretakers. And they're divided in divisions in what they're going to focus on. And within that, there's always a hierarchy. There's always an order. You ever heard the term, too many chiefs and not enough Indians? Right. Some of y'all's all struggling to be the top. You have to have this order and this structure. You understand that when it comes to your job, when it comes to hierarchy in school systems and in government, in the governments that we're under, but some reason we get together here and everybody wants to be the boss and everybody got the say in what's going on. That was not the case when you search out the fathers and when you see and you get your mind right to understand how these things were done. He divided the division of the porters. Go ahead, come on.
Concerning the divisions of the porters of the Korhites was Meshilemiah, the son of Kor, of the sons of Asaph.
Just jump to verse 8. For time's sake, I'm going through some of these quickly. Go ahead.
Verse 8. All these of the sons of Obed-Edom. Obed-Edom. They and their sons and their brethren, able men for strength for the service, were 62 of Obadiah.
Right. So he goes on and he names all the men and he's telling you it was able men for strength for the service. Yesterday we were reading about the heavy fetters, but give them work that's sufficient for them, right? It says that they had the strength. So part of this too is not just assigning people, but being able as the one that's assigning them and as a leader to discern who fits where. You got to be able to identify the talents that are there. There's so many little steps that go into that. A lot of times you see the way leadership moves and the way it gets done, and what you don't see is maybe the conversations that happened before, maybe the discussions about who we're going to put in those roles prior to that. It's kind of like when you watch these sports players and and you see them make a shot or throw a ball or hit something, and you're like, damn, they make it look so easy. Then you get in there and you're like, whoa, this is something different. It says you have to be able to know where their strengths are as you put them in these offices to build a nation. Now, stay in same chapter, jump to verse 20. That was dealing with the porters. And there's more details if you want to look at how they set the chief men and how they were in different offices to minister to the Lord, to minister to the people. Go ahead.
Verse 20. And of the Levites, Ahijah was over the treasurers of the house of God.
Come on.
And over the treasurers of the dedicated things.
So there was a treasury. So when you see that we got a treasury set up, we just go and we search the fathers, and it shows you how that thing was done under David. And I'm going to stop for 1 second. Get me Amos 9, and I think I want to start at 10. Oh, I won't. No. Okay, all right. You got the one in Acts 2? I'll go there instead if you want to bring it. All right, Amos 9. Because there's a reason that the scripture says this when it talks about our restoration. Go ahead.
Amos chapter 9, verse 10. All the sinners of my people.
No, start at 11. Go ahead.
Verse 11. Mm-hmm. In that day will I raise.
In that day, when Christ returns and he establishes up us again, he very specifically said how he was going to do that. Go ahead, come on.
In that day will I raise up the tabernacle of David.
The tabernacle of David. Why? We read in Sirach that it was only David, Hezekiah, and Josiah that were worth a damn as leaders. And he's picked David, obviously, because of the promise, but because when you read the foundations that David laid up, it created a structure and an order. Going back to the question you asked me before the class, what would be my ideal image of how I would communicate that to the people to see? And you search it out in the scriptures. Not in great swelling words. But yeah, you could talk about that from experience and doing all that, but the foundation always comes from this. So even something like the treasury comes from the scriptures as we see that. You have to set things up in the power of God, in the order that God wants them. And we know that David's kingdom was blessed in this and this stuff. For them to go at great length, for this to be included in the scriptures, it's worth noting that it's something to be read and considered, and we should model after that. And you see that here in IUIC with how we run the treasuries. Go ahead, keep reading.
In that day will I raise up the tabernacle of David that is fallen, and close up the breaches thereof. And I will raise up his ruins, and I will build it as in the days of old.
And he will build it as in the days of old. So what should we do as we rehearse those righteous acts? We model after that. And yes, we will stumble. And yes, we will make falls. And we will make errors. But as long as we have that guide star, that thing to refocus on, we're not going to panic. We're not going to throw it. We were going to stick to what the scriptures say in that regards. Is that in that verse?
Yes, sir.
All right, let's go back to where we were in Chronicles 26. 1 Chronicles 26 and 20.
1 Chronicles chapter 26, verse 20. And of the Levites, Ahijah was over the treasurers of the house of God and over the treasurers of the dedicated things.
Jump to verse 26.
Verse 26.
And he names and he does some divisions just like he did with the porters. Go ahead, come on.
Which Shelomith and his brethren were over all treasurers of the dedicated things, which David the king and the chief fathers and captains over thousands and hundreds and the captains of the host had dedicated.
Everything was done with counsel. It wasn't just at David's command. There's so many little details that you can look at. The plan is here. I often bring that out in Deuteronomy 4, where it talks about this is your wisdom in the sight of the nations, right? Keep therefore and do these things, right? And it says they'll say, what greater nation is that? So wise that they have the God near to them in all these things. This is going to be the government that we rule by. This is what they call a constitution, is going to be the commandments of the Lord. And that's how we're going to have dominion and reign over the other nations. No other way. The sufficiency comes from this. Go ahead, keep reading.
Verse 27. Out of the spoils won in battles did they dedicate to maintain the house of the Lord.
Right, and it tells you what it's showing you is that there's divisions of the funds and how those things are handled. Come on, read.
And all that Samuel the seer and Saul the son of Kish and Abner the son of Ner and Joab the son of Zeruiah had dedicated. And whosoever had dedicated anything, it was under the hand of Shelomith and of his brethren.
Right, so he had the head treasurer and you had other treasurers behind that. There's another scripture I was looking for. I couldn't find it, but it talks about that. You had the chief treasurer and then they had other treasurers behind it that went into it, right? Now, staying in the same chapter, jump to verse, read in 29 now. Here was even a division of the officers and judges as well. So you see how these things, they're not you don't just lightly throw things together. There's an order. There's a way that these things should be structured. And we're going to follow what this says. You think a lot of the stuff that we came up with, we may call it names that we comprehend now, like stewards versus porters, right? Like treasurers, like officers and captains. But it goes into dealing with organizing and governing a nation. Go ahead.
Verse 29. Of the Izarites, Shenaniah and his sons were for the outward business of Israel. Over Israel, I apologize. Let me read it again. Verse 29. Of the Izarites, Shenaniah and his sons were for the outward business over Israel, for officers and judges.
Right. And you know what? It's a subtle when you read it there, but it says for the outward business over Israel. Because up until that point, that was the inner workings. That everybody don't need to know how that stuff is structured. That's discretion how we do things. Y'all don't need to be all up in the treasury and know what's going on. Just trust that godly men who have the strength to deal with it are over it. You read that in Acts 4 and in Acts 2 when they said they laid the stuff at the feet of the apostles. Where you think that just came up then? No, they're following the model of what they saw here. And they distributed as they saw need. Because you had trust in the Lord that he was putting faithful men over these offices to make that distribution. So now you have outward business. You have inner business. See, I'll give you an example. Y'all are taking showers out here with this water, but y'all don't know what it costs, how it gets here, how we're trying to manage it, how we're trying to move it. Y'all just experienced the result of turning on the faucet in the wilderness out here and being able to take a shower. Same thing with the bathrooms and the toilets and all the functions of how these things are going on. There's inward business that allows you as the people to benefit outwardly, right? And then you set governors over the things outward for Israel. Let's jump. Almost done here. 1 Chronicles 27. Yes, sir, Bishop.
Turn my mic back on. So, based on what you said, Deacon, and I'm saying to all of you, I'm looking for some kind of response. Do you understand that there's things that are happening in the back to keep the nation moving on a whole? And the different departments you play, information will be distributed to you to make this whole body function. There's certain things that some of us are not privy to because it's not our office, and that's just what it is. But rest assured that the things that we're doing it in the Spirit of the Lord for the betterment of the nation. That being said, I want to segue. We have people murmuring, women murmuring about the showers, that we cut off the water or the heat from the water. Repeat it exactly again so I understand what I'm saying.
So apparently the women's showers were running only with cold water for, I guess, about a day. Rather than have somebody ask or bring it up the chain and say, hey, we're having an issue, somebody started some murmuring that we did it because we evil niggas, that we did it so that we can manage the water. We turned off the hot water on them.
Yo, people are retarded. I'm telling you, I'm sorry, I got to say, listen, I'm about to say, I want you to listen. You really think that we sat down and had a meeting to say, okay, how do we fix them? You know, I got an idea. Turn off the heat so you all can have cold water. What are you, retarded? Are you stupid? And any sister that heard another sister say that, if you didn't rebuke them, and you didn't rebuke them, you just as dumb as yourself to listen to foolishness like that. Like that, I'm just trying to imagine one of us having that conversation, saying it to another one. Do you know how quick we would, nobody would even say that. It's retarded. To the pure, all things are pure. But when your mind is defiled, you come up with BS like that. Them kind of spirits won't make it out the wilderness. They go evil surmising.
Hey, Bishop, and you know what kind of spirit that is? Because that's something they would do.
That's
so you try to, I've said this before. We not what you say we are. You are what you say we are, and
that's
what you
right.
would do.
Bring it out.
Your
Damn.
mind would do that. Your
so
mind
you
would
think
do
that I
something
think
like
that you think that I think
right. It's not. That's not how it goes down.
Hit the bomb.
And all we had to do was send a brother over and say, "Oh, one tank is empty. Let's turn on the other tank so they can have hot water." But they chose to murmur and evil surmise.
My bad. I laugh when I hear stuff like that. Is that
so? Now I'm glad you took a cold shower.
Good. For you
take
to
another one, so your spirit could get right.
Yeah, so that's, you know, amazed me is that you believe in the Lord, you put your confidence in coming out to travel this far to fellowship, and then we some evil niggas to sit around. Man, nobody could even come to me with a conversation like that, because I'm talking amongst leadership. We would look at each other like you retarded. You were so quick maybe lose your rank by saying something like that. What? Tough to water to punish them. That's retarded. And I pray the sister that says that gets her mind right, and if she has a Lord, rebuke her. Sit her behind in the corner and tell her, make head coverings and some. Shut up. Talking, guy. Cook chicken. Shut up.
But the reason why the husband will rebuke that woman, because that thought could spread among the other sisters and cause total chaos. That's against the whole deal. That's against what we're trying to do. That's against the vision. You know, when you was talking about not knowing the underlying mechanics of things, because we talked about that last night. We were going into that when we talked about setting up the departments.
Yes.
You know, you might not know the person that's setting you up in that department. He knows the underlying reasons for why he chose you as opposed to this person. He says this one has the ability to operate in this department. Yeah. So he'll put that person in that department to have him to handle those things. Only the man that put him there knows all of the intricacies under it.
That's it.
Like what we talking about with the water and all of that. The women running their gums about the water being off and all that. She don't know anything, but yet she gonna spread the evil to the other sisters.
Hey, and they don't know that we're gonna take the empty tank when it gets dark tonight and go fill it up so you can have hot water and we probably have to do it maybe another time before the thing is over, so you can stay with your hot water.
Exactly. But we're so quick. This comes out of what our enemies taught us. No faith in your brothers. No faith in your people.
Which is
The
really no
minute you-
faith in the Lord.
Exactly.
Can I ask you a favor, both of you?
Yeah.
I just want I want to entertain it one more time, and I'll leave it alone after this.
Do you think?
My mind is. I'm telling you how my mind works. So we're gonna have a meeting tonight. Hey, captains, I need you to take Argentina, all South America, deacons. I need you to take over to Africa. You go over there to Asia Minor, and make sure you turn off the heat so the sisters don't have. What kind of retarded mind thinks like that?
Goodness.
That's the big thing we worry about. Oh, God bless you,
Man,
dummy. You're a dummy.
They probably murmuring, blaming the cold on us.
Yeah. I bet you they prayed
I
to
bet
Satan
you,
to give
bet
us
you they
cold
prayed
air.
the cold so we can
Oh,
have a
God.
tough, rough tabernacle.
Oh, Lord Jesus, boy.
That's crazy. But it shows you. It shows you. Like I said earlier in the beginning of the class. Like I said in the beginning, I said some of us, we still have to work on being who we profess to be. If we say that we're the Israelites, we're supposed to operate that way. Why in the world are we going to suspect evil of each other? That's not how we're going to get to the kingdom. That's not how we're going to use this area here as an example on how to set your own system up. But we're gonna speak evil about it because your mind ain't on the vision. So, husband, you got some work to do. I'll make this point here because you was bringing out about the different, like up underneath the treasury.
Right.
I was hoping that y'all could see this, but I'm gonna read it. I wanted to bring out what the word infrastructure mean because I mentioned that at the beginning of the class. Now I'm gonna read it.
I could read it for you if you want, Bishop.
All right, go on, bring it out.
Infrastructure, the fundamental facilities and systems.
Hold it. The fundamental. You never really see the technical white paper, so to speak. You don't get to see the mechanics and the discussions on what brought certain things to be, but you're gonna murmur against it. You don't understand that the little scratch papers like this, like many of the programs that y'all hear about now in its fruition. You know, you've seen my notebooks and all that. Little drawings and this and that and the other because it had to start from, and I'm confirmed with leadership,
And
getting different
I've
things.
seen where it started to where they grew into.
That's called fundamentals. The fundamentals is what sets up the infrastructure. The infrastructure is the supporting system that makes all of this possible. That's what we have to have. Read the rest of it.
The fundamental facilities and systems serving a country,
serving a nation. So that's the reason why many of y'all hear me balk often saying we must get the infrastructure up. The infrastructure, we need that underlying support system that ties all of these systems and departments together. There has to be an underlying connectivity to all of them. That's the reason why I talk about the unity. If we are operating within these departments, there is supposed to be an understanding unity with other departments in understanding the importance of their department. You need the kitchen. You need the maintenance crew. You need the security. You need the fire safety. You need the decor team. You need the treasury. You need all of the systems that we have. All of them are needed. That's in the book of Corinthians. Shall the ear say to the eye, I have no need of thee? That's crazy. But yet we all reading the Bible. This is why I say we got a lot of work to do.
I'm going to keep reading it, Bishop, is saying all of that. The fundamental facilities and systems serving a country, city, or area as transportation and communication systems, power plants, schools, the basic underlying framework or features.
Basic underlying framework. Damn, that's right there. The underlying framework that holds it all together. It's structured, but it's the infrastructure, meaning the support, the underlying connections. Go ahead.
Or features of a system or organization.
Do y'all understand that? We all supposed to have, even if we don't know the intricacies of what's going on in the infrastructural entity of what we're doing, you're supposed to have an appreciation that it's there. I might not understand the reason why the water's cold, but I know that the people that I believe in, I believe that they're of goodwill. Maybe I should ask before I start some evil speech. This is what we don't do. This is what we were talking about last night. Brothers will be working, you know, here you got the head of the department that said, listen, I'm getting ready to put you in action to do X, Y, and Z. Mm-hmm. He's going to get there, and then the supervisor will sit back and watch and make sure that he's doing it right. and he can see that the man is about to get in trouble, why won't the man turn around and say, listen, can you show me how to do this? Can you show me how to do that? Instead of him asking, he's going to start talking crap, mess it up, break something, and the supervisor said, all you had to do was come and ask me. Why is the water cold? All you had to do was ask us. Maybe we need to send somebody out there to check it out. When your power goes out in your house, what did you say? Do you say that the electric company just meant to leave you in the dark? That just shows you the difference how they think with us.
If you lived in the projects, we did, though, in fairness.
They say, they did it because I'm black. No. Why don't you find out what happened?
Well, it's true, though, right? Hey, look at this, Bishop. You'll like this one here. At a glance, here are the typical departments in a local government. You have a clerk's department. That's your record keepers. That's your scribes that keep track of all these things. You, as a bishop, overlap in all these offices. You have all your records from the beginning of when we've done this stuff. You the clerk's department too, right? Department of Public Works, Municipal and County Court, Health Department. We got a medical team out here. IT Department over here. Engineering and Building and Construction Department. Planning and zoning. Y'all can put your tents here. This is going to be positioned here. This is what makes the most sense for that to be here. Human resources. So that instead of murmuring, you can ask somebody that I got a problem and there's something wrong with the water. Code enforcement. Stop throwing stuff in the porta potties.
Hit the bomb!
Emergency management. Parks and Recreation, Police Department, we got security, Fire Department, Fire Safety, Public Schools, we're here doing the educational part, giving our classes, trying to give y'all understanding, and so much more that needs to be maintained, all these different systems of government. And you best believe that they documented this, but they got this from us. The nations were in awe of us when we had our kings in rulership. They could not believe the way we moved and functioned as a people. Going back to the beginning where we said that's when we get our power back. Why are they going to fear us? Because they're going to see that we can move without them. When God is our sufficiency and no longer them in want of all things, then we will be free. Then we will be free, brothers and sisters. Let me just give them this last two offices, Bishop, and I'll throw it back to you. Let's go back to 1 Chronicles. Let's read now. We did 26-29, right? Dealing with the outward business. Now let's go to 27. We're going to read 1 through 3. This is the ordering of the military and civil aspect of officials. Go ahead.
First Chronicles chapter 27, verse 1. Now the children of Israel, after this number, to wit, the chief fathers and captains of thousands and hundreds, and their officers that served the king in matter of the courses.
In any matter of the courses. Come on.
Which came in.
This is like while we have the steward program, we also have men of rank that are over some of these offices. This is the chief fire steward. This is this. This is the one that reports to him. And some of the offices will have regional leads. And then you have point of contacts that filter down. This is what he's talking about here. And it's not just that he ordered them. They shared the load. They rotated. There was a team for each month to deal with the matters of the nation. And there's wisdom behind that. We do that sometimes with the men that are over regions. And you say, oh, okay, now we got this deacon working with us. We got this captain working with us. There's a rotation that happens, right? Go ahead, come on.
Which came in and went out month by month throughout all the months of the year. Of every course were 20 and 4,000.
Come on.
Over the first course for the first month was Josebeam, the son of Zabdiel, and his course were 20 and 4,000. Of the children of Perez was the chief of all the
Hey, you thought Perez was a conquistador name. Perez is in the Bible. All right. Go ahead, come on.
Of the children of Perez was the chief of all the captains of the host for the first month.
And they broke it out by month with these brothers. Jump to verse 25. We're going to read 25 to 31, and then I'm going to hand it back.
Verse 25. And over the king's treasurers was Asmaveth, the son of Adiel, over the storehouses and the fields, and in the cities, and in the villages, and in the castles was Jehonathan, the son of Uzziah.
Right, because you had to have men to manage the storehouses, because we would just eat everything up. But we know there were cycles of famine and dearth. And as a people, y'all just see the end result. We have the grain, we have this, we have that. But there has to be a reserve to hold up for the times of famine, right? And not just food. That goes with money, that goes with anything. You have to have things in reserve for the unexpected, right? Go ahead, come on.
Verse 26. And over them that did the work of the field for tillage of the ground.
They had an agriculture department. They had they have that now today, the Department of Agriculture here in the United States. That was in the Bible under David's rule. They had the people who were over the agriculture, oversee how you were farming, how you were handling those things, how you were making your contributions to the nation. Go ahead, come on.
And over them did the work of the field for tillage of the ground was Israel, the son of Shulab.
Keep reading.
Verse 27. And over the vineyards.
You had to have people over the vineyards now as a separate thing. Go ahead, come on.
Was Shimei, the Ramathite, over the increase of the vineyard.
And his job was to be productive there, not just maintain it. He had to increase the productivity of the vineyards. Go ahead, come on.
Over the increase of the vineyards for the wine cellars was Zabdi and Shifmite.
Come on.
And over the olive trees and the sycamore trees that were in the low plains.
No, we ain't thinking like this. To this detail and this, we not there yet. Your leadership thinking about certain things. And some things come up and it comes on our radar and we get on it. So that we can start moving the things in motion to implement it. Go ahead, come on.
And over the olive trees and the sycamore trees that were in the low plains was Baal Hanan, the Gedrite. And over the sellers of oil was Joash. And over the herds that fed in Sharon.
Over the herds had to be managed. Come on.
Was Shitrai, the Shoronite. And over the herds that were in the valleys was Shaphat, the sons of Adiah.
We're going to 31 and then we stop. Okay, keep going.
Over the camels was...
Over the camels. You would say throw them in with the herds. It said over the camels. Go ahead, come on.
Over the camels also was Obil and Ishmaelite. And over the asses was Jehadiah, the Morathite. And over the flocks was Jaziz, the Hagarite. All these were the rulers of the substance which was King David.
So you have all these wonderful examples of this organization for this thing to operate properly. And this ain't even talking about about how some of these things, one will affect the other. If one of these departments is not doing what they need to do, even though it's a separate division, a separate department, it'll impact everything else that's going on in the government of what we're trying to build. So this thing is much bigger and much grander than anybody can imagine. And we need the help. We need the people that have the strength. That don't just mean the skill set, but that have the right mindset and the spirit to see it, support it, and be ready to fit in where you fit in. Right? Go ahead, Bishop.
All praises to the Most High. Give the Lord a hand for that thing. That's some good edification there. Give me the book of Isaiah 49 and 6. I think I called that early, but we didn't read it. But it's time to bring it out now. Isaiah 49 and 6. Yes, sir.
Isaiah chapter 49, verse 6. And he said, it is a light thing that thou shouldest be my servant to raise up the tribes of Jacob.
So although the nations sought to keep us on the bottom, the Most High said, I'm going to set my nation of Israel up in order before their eyes. I didn't stress that when we read it before. Go back to that Psalms again. I want to stress that word order, because that order means infrastructure. It means all of what you just heard. It means all of that. It ain't just us coming together.
Psalms chapter 50, verse 21. These things hast thou done, and I kept silence.
The things that was done was all of how the nations conspired together with one consent to destroy us. Go ahead.
Thou thoughtest that I was altogether such as one as thyself.
The nations thought that they were being so successful. They actually thought God was on their side because of their success in how they destroyed us. They actually said God got to be with us because look at what we did to God's people. Go ahead.
But I will reprove thee.
But the Lord said, I'm going to correct that thinking that you have because that's not the case. Go ahead.
And set them in order.
And set the Israelites up, my people, the Most High said, I'm going to set my people up in what?
In order.
In order, in order, in order. Hold that. Give me Titus 1 and 5. Titus 1 and 5. Order. This is what we're doing. And who's giving us the ability to do this? The Most High. Titus 1 and 5. You got it?
Titus chapter 1 verse 5.
Come on.
For this cause left I thee in Crete, that thou shouldest set in order.
That thou, so the apostles had to set up people to be over Israel in these different areas. Crete was one of them. And he said, I need to set him up to set the Israelites that was in Crete in order. Listen, it's going to spell out a little bit better. Read.
That thou shouldest set in order the things that are wanting.
The things that are lacking. The things that are lacking. Infrastructure is lacking. You have to set up the different departments. Set up the husbands and wives so that they deal with each other properly. Set up counsel. Set up everything. That's what it's talking about. So the Most High is talking about, when we go back to where we was at, go back to Psalms, set up.
Psalms chapter 50 verse 21. These things hast thou done, and I kept silence. Thou thoughtest that I was altogether such an one as thyself. But I will reprove thee and set them in order.
Set the Israelites up in order. So not only did he do it in Crete and all the other areas when you read Acts and all that, order was set up everywhere the apostles went. They had to set the order up everywhere they went. And that's what we're doing today. Setting up order, which means infrastructure, setting up treasury, setting up all of the things that we just covered. Go ahead. Before our enemies' eyes. That's what the Most High is going to do. He's going to cause us to set it up. And he's going to be behind us to make sure that we get it right. So now, find that scripture where it says, what nation have God so near to them? You know what I'm talking about? I think it's in the Psalms. It's a series of scriptures that's blessed to have. I think somebody was quoting it earlier. I thought it was one in Psalms too, but all right. No, you just quote that one. There was one in, it said to have a God so near to them. All right, let's read that one then. I can't remember where it was at. You got it?
What verse?
Read whatever you got.
Yes,
that ain't the one I'm thinking about, but I'll take this one.
Yes, sir. Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 7. For what nation is there so great who had God so nigh?
Maybe that is it. Read it again.
For what nation is there so great who had God so nigh?
It's important for us to know that the Most High is talking about us. What nation has God as their father? All the other nations don't have that. Go ahead.
Who had God so nigh unto them.
Read.
As the Lord our God is in all things that we call upon him for.
That we can call upon the Most High. The other nations do not have that connection. So when they wanted to cut us off from that, they wanted to break that connection. Okay? Give me Romans 3. Give me Romans 3. Because the point is, what nation has the book? What nation has the Bible? This Bible is the book of the Israelites. That's our connection to the Father. All of the other nations got their nasty hands on it, but it don't belong to them. They don't have that connection. When we open up the book, when we open up the Bible, it's our photo album. It's our mail. It's our personal business. It's our relationship to the Father. And once we establish that connection, we can go to our Father and ask him to give us everything. He gave us this history about how we set up during the time of King David. That history don't belong to the nations. That belonged to your daddies. How about that? That belonged to your fathers. That belonged to you. The other nations don't have that. Read.
Romans chapter 3, verse 1. What advantage then hath the Jew?
What advantage then has the nation of Israel, the Israelites? Come on.
Or what profit is there of circumcision?
Or what profit is the covenant of circumcision that was given to the nation of Israel, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, all the 12 tribes. Read.
Much every way.
Meaning the Israelites have all of the advantages. That's what's saying it that way. We have all of the advantages because we're the Israelites. The other nations don't have that. Read.
Chiefly.
Then the main reason why we have the advantage, meaning above all the other advantages, the main reason why we have the advantage is because of what?
Because that unto them were committed the oracles of God.
The oracles of God is the Bible, and they were given to the Israelites. So all we have to do is open up the Bible and find out how to connect back to our Father. The other nations don't have that connection. Y'all understand what I'm bringing out? The other nations do not have that connection, but you do. Now I'm going to show you how. Now we get ready to go a little deeper now. A little deeper. We have to understand that we have been made in the image of our Creator, which means we must know our Creator. We must know our Father. The other nations don't have this. This is pertaining to us. Y'all all right? Give me the book of Genesis chapter 1, verse 1. Watch this.
Genesis chapter 1, verse 1.
Now, remember this. Before we read that, give me chapter 2, verse 7. Let me do that first, because it's going to help you. Give me chapter 2, verse 7. Then we're going to jump to 1 and 1.
Genesis.
Talking to you men now. I'm talking about imagery. In order for us to understand what the imagery of the nation is supposed to be, you need to be able to think like the Father. You need to be able to understand that you come from the Father. He gives you the ability to envision things in your mind. That comes from your Father. But we've been cut off from that understanding. It's getting ready to get nice and deep now on a little bit. Read 2 and 7.
Genesis chapter 2, verse 7. And the Lord God formed man of the dust of the ground.
Now, there's a scripture I need before this. Give me 126. That's the one I needed. 126. That's the one I left out.
Genesis chapter 1, verse 26. And God said, let us make men in our image.
Go ahead.
After our likeness.
After our likeness. Go ahead.
And let them have dominion over the fish of the sea.
So, in other words, he was going to have us, give us the mind to have rulership over the whole planet. That's what he's saying, just in a nutshell. Read it again.
And God said, let us make man in our image.
And let us, the angels in the Most High Christ, let us make man in our image. Image, image, image. What does this mean? Now, we can get into how he fashioned our bodies, how he shaped our eyes and lips and nose, even the way your bodies are made. God caused your bodies to be made the way he wanted it to be made. That he put your private parts in a certain area. That's not an accident. He put your ears in a certain spot. He put your eyes and your nose in a certain spot. He set your ears up. Listen, where you can look straight ahead. And the way your ears are set up, you can tell where a sound is coming from with your eyes closed. That's some deep stuff there. You close your eyes and you can tell if there's a train or something that's coming to knock you down. While you're not even looking, you can hear the sound because your ears are made to differentiate the sound waves from hitting the left ear versus the right ear, and that will tell your brain to turn in that direction and see the danger that's coming towards you. That's the power that God gave us. That's just on a low level. That's on a low level. But he gave us that ability. Now, read that 126 again.
Genesis chapter 1, verse 26. And God said, let us make man in our image.
So now that's what I want to talk about. In our image. And then it said in our likeness, right? Y'all heard that? In our likeness. Now go to the chapter, verse 1.
Genesis chapter 1, verse 1. In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth.
Go ahead.
And the earth was without form.
Stop. God created the heavens and the earth, right? But what did he say after that? But the earth was without form. So did the earth actually exist if it was without form? No. So why did it say, but the earth was without form? Because the earth existed in God's mind first. That's how he made you. We're able to envision things before they're actually here because you was made after your creator. You was made after your God. Read it again.
Genesis chapter 1, verse 2. And the earth was without form and void.
And the earth was called void. If there's void, it means it's not there. But the Lord is saying, but it did exist, but it wasn't made manifest yet. But it existed in my mind. That's what God is saying, the spring being. He said, but it was without form and it was void. Go ahead.
And darkness was upon the face of the deep.
So that's what was there. Go ahead.
And the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters.
Then the angels came and formulated the earth, but it was first existed in God's mind. The things that you see us do here, this way we set this tabernacles up, we had to envision this before a single soul came here. We had to visualize how we were going to set this up, how we were going to set that up, how we were going to set up the infrastructure. Everything had to be set in our minds first because that's the way God thinks, and he gave us that ability to think that way too. Y'all all right? I ain't done yet. Almost done. Read.
Verse 3. And God said, let there be light.
And now the Lord said, let there be light. Go ahead.
And there was light.
And there was light. Go ahead.
And God saw the light, that it was good. And God divided.
Hold it. And he saw that the light was good. He saw that the light was good. He had the light formed in his mind first, and then he had it created. And then once it was created, he said, the light looks good. What's happening here? What's happening here? He's comparing the actual manifestation of the light to the image of the light that he had in his mind. And he said, and the light is in accordance to how I saw it in my mind. Those who are builders, those who build houses or buildings or anything like that, you will draw out your plans. That's in your mind. When you start to build it and then you see it come up, you will look and say, this is not what I had in my mind. Tear it down and do it again. Y'all feel me? What you manifest with your hands had to be first in your mind. This is what I'm talking about, nation. We have to visualize the nation. We have to imagine it in our minds first, according to how our Father gave it to us. That's why we was reading that with Deacon Joshua. He brought that out. We have to be able to see that and visualize it in our mind. And as we visualize it, we can tell if things are going according to plan or not. And once we see that it's moving the right way, we can say it is good. Now I'm going to get personal with you, men and women. Y'all going to attest to exactly what I'm talking about. When you're getting dressed in the morning, right? Y'all go to the mirror. Can I get a witness, women? Y'all in the mirror, right? Y'all getting your hair all this and that. When y'all are done, when do y'all walk away from the mirror? When it is good. What is it that you're looking for in the mirror before you are satisfied and you walk away from it? You're looking at what you're formulating with your hands, how you do your hair and all that. And you're comparing what you're doing with your hands and so forth to the image of yourself that you have in your mind. Y'all get that? You don't walk away, you brothers, when you're getting your hair done up, your trims and all that. You say, there's a look that I'm trying to get to. And you will not leave until you get it. And when you get it, you say, it is good. It is so. Y'all dig this? This is how we have to understand our relationship to God. The Most High gave us that ability to envision, to be able to see things before they're actually out here. You can formulate it in your mind. That's the reason why we know when something is off, because it said this does not fit. God saw the light and he said that the light is good. Why? Because the light agreed. The image that he saw of what he saw, even the earth, like we were talking about earlier, once it was made, he saw that it was good, meaning that it was good according to what he saw in his mind. When you build or you paint a picture, artist, whatever, you're painting something. When you finish painting it, you don't walk away from it until you said, this conforms to the image of what I had in my mind. Nobody else saw it but you. But it became manifest once you put it out there. Now people can understand what you were thinking. Y'all understand that? This is the heaviness of us connecting with our Father. The way the Lord made the earth is the way he gave you the ability to bring out the greatness in you. And he gives you an image of yourself on how you should look. I ain't talking about what Esau teaches these women. I'm talking about how God wants you to look. How the Most High wants us to be as men. How God wants us to be as women. How we are supposed to act and come together and set up departments and unity and all of that. We're supposed to have that in our minds first. Then once we do that, then we start to act on it. And when we're acting upon it, then we actually see the elements and the pieces come together. And as more pieces come together, you start to see what was in your mind start to be formed right there in front of your hands. That's what we have the power to do. Y'all all right? So we can do that right here at Tabernacles. And the Most High is trying to get us to understand that's how we're supposed to move. I'm going to read one more scripture. I'm going to trim it down some. Give me the book of Luke, chapter 16. Brothers, I'm going to let y'all kick in after this. I know. Isaac, Deacon Isaac, Captain Shem, Captain Hananiah. Brothers was telling me earlier, Bishop Godai said, y'all stop classes, but he talking about 2 hours, and next thing you know, it'll be 3-4 hours. So I said, no, I ain't going to do that today.
Turn my mic on. Let me clarify what I said so you understand. Everybody know Bishop Yawasop. So prior to we started, it was like, because it's the last night it got cold. Yeah, we know what time we're starting. So Bishop Yawasop is notorious for going an hour and a half and then say, okay, now let's begin the class. Like you just went an hour and a half. When you need to begin.
That was just to warm them up.
That was just a warm up.
That was just to warm up, preheat the oven.
So for some reason, Bishop was in denial that he doesn't do that, and we all look at him like, okay.
Yeah, so
all right.
The majority populace wins.
Yeah, hour and a half into tomorrow. So let me get my first scripture.
Right.
Okay. Let's go. I'm sorry. Turn my mic off again.
Yes, sir. Okay, let's read that in Luke. Luke chapter 16, verse 10. We're going to read 10 to 12.
Yes,
we
sir.
might go to 13. We'll just read them. Read those verses.
Luke chapter 16, verse 10.
Now, again, keeping in context of what I'm talking about with us building a nation and how we expect to learn from what we're doing here now. And how does this get incorporated in our spirit to do better each year until we have perfected nationhood. Watch this. Read.
Luke chapter 16, verse 10. He that is faithful in that which is least.
This place where we're at, you can consider this as least because it's quote unquote not ours. We got to actually communicate with people to get the, I guess, the rights to use this for now. Y'all all right? Read that again.
He that is faithful in that which is least.
So this is not ours, but we are to be faithful in it. We have to conduct ourselves as the people of God, not murmurers and complainers. We're supposed to have that real beautiful unifying unity that we're supposed to have. That's the reason why I wanted to read that thing about how great the nation. They said, surely this is a great nation. When they said that I can't. I'm getting mixed. Right. You know what I'm trying to bring? Okay. Right. Another scripture keep popping up in my mind, by the way. Read it. Read it. I need to hear it. It says, our wisdom among the nations. That one. Read that. This is when we go to places, this is what's supposed to be the talk after we leave.
Deuteronomy chapter 6, verse 7. And thou shalt teach them diligently.
4, 6, and 7.
Well, that was good too. We need that. But go ahead, get the one that I want.
Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 6. Keep therefore and do them, for this is your wisdom and your understanding and the sight of the nation.
That's the scripture. Keep and do these commandments. Act like an organized nation, because that's what we are. Where they can't say anything evil against us in righteousness. I put it that way. They can lie on us, like I always say. But in truth, they cannot. They're not supposed to be able to have anything evil to say about us. I remember the last tabernacles that I was here, and it was when we were in California. And Officer Ophir, I had a lot of extensive conversation with him about, because I think he was like the point man in dealing with many of the things that was going on in the area. So he had to be in connection with the different services that would come and service the park while we were there. And there was a situation where we had it organized so well, and the systems, the cleanup systems, security, fire safety, and all. Even we've even had emergency situations, and that was handled with absolute expertise. No complaints, no nothing. But then it came to the part where we would instruct the people not to mess up the bathrooms. I mean, the full bathroom, the showers and all that. The same situation like we have out here. And we still had the trucks that would come, the septic, to come to clean it out. He came there, we were looking at him on camera. We were sitting together. We see the man drive up, and he looked mad as hell when he first started driving up, because he was driving past all these tents. Y'all remember that? Yep. He was like, man, look at all these daggone tents and all that damn chicken. They've been eating chicken, man. They probably messed them damn bathrooms up like hell. Going to the bathroom left and right, such and such. He's just driving. We saw him get out the truck mad. He's like, I got to go. He putting on his suit, getting ready to get dirty. He walked in and came out in 2 minutes. And he was like, what did they call me for? The place was spotless. Who remember that? I do. Yep, I remember that. He came out. He could not believe how clean the place was. It was like we didn't even have to call him. That went out. That information went out. That good report went out. Remember the people from the what was it?
In the paper.
In the paper, It went out. So that good name went out then. Not only because of this situation with the bathrooms, but just because of the order that we had set up, and everybody was doing their part. That was a beautiful thing, and we can do the same thing here too. Y'all all right? I came here because I want to see you do good.
Read the rest of them verses, Bishop.
Read it.
Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 6. Keep therefore and do them, for this is your wisdom and your understanding and the sight of the nations, which shall hear all these statutes and say, surely this great nation is a wise and understanding people.
That's what they're supposed to be saying about us. And that's how we are supposed to be. So I correlate that with going back to Luke.
Luke chapter 16, verse 10. He that is faithful in that which is least.
So the park in California was leased, but we took care of that as if it was our own. Same thing that we would do here, as if it was our own. If you rented an apartment, it's not yours per se, but you take care of it like it's yours. That builds your credit up. That builds a whole lot of things up, because people say, you know what, or somebody give you your first car, a little hoopty, but you took care of it. You learn how to drive properly. You ain't racing and running people off the road with it. And then the person that gave you the car said, well, I see you know how to act. I see you know how to act when somebody give you something. Well, I can give you something a little bit better. This is what would happen when you do right. Read it again.
He that is faithful in that which is least is faithful also in much.
So I'm bringing it back to our tabernacles. We have to be faithful in this little parts of land that we have here, that we are practicing and rehearsing the righteous acts. We have to be faithful in keeping the commandments. take care of the place. Leave a good name. Let that good reputation follow you. Let it be we go to many places. And you know, the police in the city, they always are on standby. They always get the call. You got a big gathering of da-da-da-da-da-da-da. So they always get the call, and they're on standby. That's just the normal case of business, whether you're white or black, quote unquote. That's just what they do. They get the memo. So whenever they have to respond, they're anticipating. They say, look at all these people, just like the man with the poop truck. He looked at all them daggone tents. He said, man, look, all them grills out there, nothing but chicken on them. He said, man, these people was defecating everywhere. He expected to go inside the bathrooms and find, and he didn't find none of that.
Right.
So, yeah, right. He didn't find any of that. He was a man. I wondered if any of us filmed it, because I remember it vividly. I mean, he came and he threw his arms out. He's like, I can't believe it. He was smiling, and it looked like they called him on his day off, so he was mad.
Bishop, we have such a good reputation.
Yes.
Ophir told me they call him every year and ask if we coming back.
See that? Say that again.
We have such a good reputation that they call Ophir every year and ask him if we coming
So
back.
you see, I ain't playing games. This is what happens when you act like a God, when you act like the people of God. All praise to the Most High. That's good. And we want that kind of thing here too. Now, of course, we're still working on our own thing. But again, because what I'm about to tie into is going to talk about that. Here we are, we're on somebody else's situation here. Read it again, the scripture.
He that is faithful in that which is least.
Meaning we're on somebody else's land that we got to hold our customs on. Read.
Is faithful also in much.
Meaning that you know how to operate on somebody else's, so you will be faithful in a whole lot. In other words, these people know how to act when they had an apartment. Now we can give him a whole house. He's going to know how to operate. That's what they're saying. Go ahead.
And he that is unjust in the least.
This is the reason why we got to correct stupid, dumb behavior. Because if you're going to do things that's going to mess up the imagery, mess up the plans, we got to come down on you because you're messing up the whole nation with this madness. Read that again. He that is unfaithful.
He that is unjust in the least.
Unjust in the least. This ain't even ours. And we're going to mess this up. The vision should be, let us do right by this, and then the Lord will bless us with something better. Go ahead. Read it again.
And he that is unjust in the least is unjust also in much.
Here you have a company. Some people go to work. They're working for a company that's not theirs, and they're stealing on the damn job. What the hell you think is going to happen if they give that same thief a company? He's going to steal from his own company, embezzlement, and the whole damn nine to close the damn company down because he's a thief in his heart. Y'all dig this? We must know how to operate in righteousness even before we get there. Because it will tell us how to set it up once we get there. We talk about the old school when we had the building 1088, a little hole in the wall. But we kept that place clean. We kept order. We kept structure. Then we moved to another building. And we learned how to operate with unity there. Built that. Then the Lord said, you know what? Now we can bless them with a building. Boom. And to this day, we still keep that building up. But if we were the type of people that never valued something that wasn't even ours, although we are occupying it, how could we say that we're ready for something greater? Yes, come on.
Turn my mic up. Scripturally, we read it with Joseph, with Daniel. We had many of our forefathers that were in positions of authority under another nation. But while they were in those positions, they executed their job faithfully. It is not like, it's a mentality that we have to have that when we are in a position, it's a knee-jerk reaction. Wherever we go, because we have the laws of God in us, we're going to conduct ourselves a certain way. Doesn't matter this land, anybody land, what it is. It's just who we are as a people. So it doesn't change because of another nation? No. We're not going to steal because it's the laws of God from each other or from the other nations. We're not going to murder amongst each other or the other nations because it's the law of God. We are gods on this earth and we conduct ourselves as such. We do that, again, because of the laws of God. It has put structure in our lives. Before the laws, and you started with this, you didn't say this word, but this is what you were talking about. We're lawless people. Had we not had the laws of God, right now, they'll be twerking, weed smoking, fighting, drunkenness. We wouldn't have no structure or order. So when the nations see us, they are befuddled because they expect us to be what they see on TV. We ain't them niggas. we ain't them. That's not us. It don't matter where we go. And what you saw last year in Cali, and what they're going to see at the end of this, and what they're going to see at every place IUIC is, or people that's keeping God's laws, they're going to see structure. That should be second nature to us, who we are as a people. So we're not going to leave anywhere where people could speak ill of us. And when we ain't right, we're going to fix our own. You understand that? So I'm not expecting to see no drunkenness, no sister twerking. We don't want to hear that. No weed smoking. No. Moving thousands of men in a march simultaneously. That is a feat where it's hard for the people to understand. But it seems like it's nothing for us because we got God's laws. Right, men? All praises, all praises, all praises. That's good. Makes me feel good that I'm part of this. Damn it. Thank you, Father.
So again, the Lord is giving us the blueprint on how to get to the kingdom. That's what we've been talking about. The blueprint is the imagery that he's showing us. He showed you in the history, showing you in his principles, showing you in these rules and these scriptures that we're bringing out, how the Lord is on our side, and he's going to set us up in order and going to teach us how to deal. And that's what we read it here in Luke. Read it.
Luke chapter 16, verse 10. He that is faithful in that which is least.
So we're faithful in that which is not even ours yet. Go ahead.
Is faithful also in much.
So when we get ours, we're going to know how to be faithful in that because we would have already practiced it and understood and worked the mechanics and saw the benefits of working those mechanics of unity. Go ahead.
And he that is unjust in the least is unjust also in much.
This is a point that I want us to pay attention to. If you're unjust with just your small little apartment, if we're just going to be unjust in this park here, that's not even ours. Go ahead.
Verse 11. If therefore ye have not been faithful in the unrighteous mammon.
If you have not been faithful in just dealing where we're at now, go ahead.
Who will commit your trust the
Who will
true
commit
riches?
To your trust. Read it again.
Who will commit to your trust the true riches?
The true riches meaning your own. You'll never get the house. You'll never get you will never get the kingdom. You will never get these things because you never knew how to act when you was tested on a small level. So what must we do? What must we do? We must act as if we already there. We must carry ourselves as if we're already there. The Most High wants to bring, and he's going to do it, because, we're going to get this thing together. And when the Most High gives us our land, like we're working on, when the Most High gives us that, we're going to know how to even operate even better. Notice how the Lord is dealing. He's setting up infrastructure, because we're going to need all of that stuff, infrastructure, we're going to really need it, because it's going to be us dealing with it. And that's going to prepare us for the wilderness when we actually leave here. And it's going to ultimately prepare us on how to govern this whole planet Earth. Come on. You get the last words. I'm leaning back. My sinus is starting to bother me.
Sometimes when Bishop be speaking, man, he say some stuff that just... So Bishop just said, the Spirit put on him to say, we have to operate like that now. Because if we're not operating like that now, we're not going to do in the kingdom. This is the time for us to perfect that or walk, to be those people, to be those guys. So we're not going to leave here and go to the kingdom and then we're going to be it. Like by osmosis, we and now we didn't know. Go to 1 Corinthians 15. When you said that, it just hit me. 1 Corinthians 15. 53. Is that it? Yeah. First Corinthians 15, 53.
1 Corinthians chapter 15,
No, start with verse 50.
verse 50. Now this I say, brethren, that flesh and blood cannot inherit the kingdom of God.
If you are in this cardinal state now, you cannot, or we cannot inherit the kingdom of God. Christ said, be ye perfect as my Father in heaven is perfect. When is that supposed to happen? On this time. We got to conquer sin. So it says, flesh and blood cannot inherit the kingdom of God. Read on.
Neither doeth corruption inherit incorruption.
Do you think you could be in this, we can be in this corruptible body and inherit incorruption? No. We have to rehearse that now, so when we go into that place, we are doing it. You understand that? No, I'm asking, do you understand what that's saying? When Christ returns, we can't move as sinners. We have to be godly. Ungodly is not going to get eternal life. It's not how it works. So if we can't operate on a small level, how are we going to do it on a bigger level? How's God going to entrust us in that? Read.
Verse 51. Behold, I show you a mystery. We shall not all sleep, but we shall all be changed.
Listen, we all may not die when Christ returns, but we all going to have to be changed from that corruptible man into that incorruptible man. Read on.
In a moment, in the twinkling of an eye, at the last trump, for the trumpet shall sound, and the dead shall be raised incorruptible.
The dead that died in righteousness is going to be raised back up, and they're going to be in that incorruptible state because they fought a good fight. They kept the faith. They did their job. Read on.
And we shall be changed.
And then we are going to be changed into the state of that man that's going to inherit that kingdom. Read on.
For this corruptible must put on incorruption.
It says this corruptible man must put on incorruption. Read on.
And this mortal must put on immortality.
You must put it on. Read on.
So, when this corruptible shall have put on incorruption, and this mortal shall have put on immortality, then shall be brought to pass the saying that is written, death is swallowed up in victory.
You have to put on that incorruptible man that you can say, death has been swallowed up. That's Psalm 91. Only will your eyes will you see the destruction. It's not going to touch you because you already put on incorruption in your behavior. So back to what you said. When you said it, Bishop, it hit me. I'm like, well, if we can't do it on a small level, then what makes you think God's going to trust us on a larger level? You understand it? So we got to be those guys now before he returns, because then no bueno. You don't go nowhere. You stay here. Understand it? All praise to the Lord.
One last scripture, Proverbs 29 and 18. Because what we're talking about is vision. That's what I was talking about with what the Most High. He had vision in his mind before he made the earth. He said the earth was without form and it was void, meaning that it didn't exist in the physical, but it existed in God's mind. Same thing with the light. And then when the light was created and he saw that the light was good, which meant that the light that was evident was in accordance to how God saw it in his mind. He created us to be the same way. That's the image. That's part of the image that he formulated in us. Read.
Proverbs chapter 29, verse 18. Where there is no vision, the people perish.
That's the truth. We have the vision. As you see, we're trying to establish a vision because we're connected with the Most High. And we want you to connect with the Most High. We want you to see it the way we see it. And then we could all move in unity to make this thing evident. That's what we have to be able to do. Got to be able to do that thing. So, read it again. Where there is no vision?
Where there is no vision, the people perish.
So we always have to have an image. We always have to have a vision that we're striving for. Whenever you're sitting still and not going anywhere, you're going to deteriorate. There's no such thing as just sitting still and nothing's happening. If you sit still in any state, like this water here, sitting here, you leave this water here for 3 years, it won't be water 3 years from now, even though it's sitting here, it's stagnant. But bacteria and different things will begin to erode the quality of that water. Same thing happens with our thinking. Same thing happens with our mind. If we are not actively working forward in a vision, your mind will go backwards. It will not stay set. It will not stay stagnant. Evil thoughts and different conversations will degrade and erode your intelligence, will erode your vision, will erode your aspirations, will erode your confidence. You will digress. You will go backwards. You will not stay still. So we have to always move forward, always have a vision, always have something in your mind that you're going forward. And the vision is what's coming up. That's what we're giving you and how to operate as a nation. Got to have that thing. So with that part being understood, here's the last thing that I want to mention. One of the things that we have to be able to do is to manage our time. Time. Everybody on the planet gets 24 hours every day. Everybody. How is it that we cannot manage our time? And I try to set such an over-exaggerated example. I'll tell somebody I'm going to be at the school at 5:30. I make sure that I'm there at 5:25, just because I want that example to go into the other men and the women. And they know that's the way. And now they know that if people are going to meet me at the school, they know they have to be there. And I allow for an excuse, traffic, whatever. Certain things go, but be responsible enough to say something. Be responsible. You don't come up. First of all, I'm there at the school waiting on you. And then I got to call and ask why you're late. I got to ask. And then you come and tell us, oh, I was told. I said, well, what the hell? Couldn't you tell me? Couldn't you let me know? Or you give somebody an assignment. And you gave them the assignment. You're the head of the department or whatever. You give the assignment. I need you to take care of this. I need you to take care of that, such and such. And you leave it there. You figured that he was qualified or she was qualified to handle that. You gave that to him and you expect the results. But yes, things can happen. Emergencies such and such could pop up. I would expect accountability and responsibility to say, okay, I know I was given this job. I know I was given this and X, Y, and Z is dependent on me, but I ran into a problem. The pipe in my house burst or something like that. That's a real emergency. Let me let my superior know that I got an issue, that I got such and such that I need to take care of. The reason why that's important is because that head of that department can say, okay, well, let me look and see who else is available so that that job could get done. But if you never say anything, he had somebody else on standby that was waiting to do the job, and he's thinking that you covered it. Meanwhile, you didn't cover it. The job never got done, and you never informed him to let the next person know. That's Negroes.
You got me going again. You know why people don't let them, the superior nobody knows? For a few reasons. You know why? Give me one idea. Why think they don't let? But why? Okay. Why don't they let them know?
Shalom, leadership. Because they feel embarrassed.
No, you're missing it. If you say, listen, realistic, my pipe just bust. That's something real. Why don't I let them know? Well, I'm just going to tell you because it's bullshit. That's why. Nobody wants to hear the story. But we're men. Nobody wants to hear it. So I'm saying this to say, because many times I'm not trying to be insensitive to people's personal lives. All I'm saying is that we have responsibility. A job has to get done. Irregardless of what's going on in your personal lives, you have to make sure God's mission is still being taken care of. So you may be, seriously, you can't deal with something. But if it's legit, you're a man. Nobody needs to hold your hand. You're going to say what it is. But when it's foolishness, I'm going to give you an example. We have an officer that's an officer 20, has 0 works, literally 0, or very minimum because they don't be absolute, but nothing as to dictate the officer 20. So we had the class for Day of Atonement. And we talked about doing the work and teaching the people and, trying to raise back a nation, get our sins off of us. Friday, it was Friday, right? The Day of Atonement. So that day, him and his wife had a funeral because they lost a baby. The baby was unborn. It was before the child came to term. And not being insensitive that, but they made it to the Day of Atonement. They enjoyed the feast. The wife was there celebrating the feast, and, he was there. He came to the podium. I was talking to him. Regular conversation. See the wife with the sisters chit-chatting, whatever. So the next morning, we're at a camp. Everybody's there. And with me with time is like if we say 10 o'clock mean 10 o'clock. I guarantee you if 10 o'clock meant 10 o'clock and it was $1 million, nobody would be late. But everybody, so he doesn't show up. And his message was, hey, not going to make it today, just, going through it, and please, nobody wants to hear that bullshit. God damn it. Tell me the wife is doing it. Don't tell me that. We don't want to hear that. Now, it might seem insensitive, but that was a straw for me. Because all the other stuff before it, he wasn't doing the job. And all of a sudden now, you're going through mental stress and you can't make it in life. You was just there the night before, bro. Nobody was here. You just relinquish your time. You go sit in the corner and, you are the deacon over folding flyers. Just stay over there. And when you're not, we're over here doing this. You're zero. Put them in a small box and set them to the corner. We men, right? We got a job. You think you losing your baby is above the nation of Israel? Nobody cares. Nobody cares. That's for the ladies say, oh, you're insensitive. Yes, we are. But we're about God's business. You understand that? You ain't hear about you was there, I'm going through mental stress. Please. I'm sorry. I'm venting right now. But just stuff like, and I'm going to say this why. I'm going to take you back why my mind is like that. In the beginning of what you see us today, IUIC, I've always said I'm going to stick with time. I said this many times before. I came to camp late, and it was just me and Bishop and whatever. And he said to me, he looked at me and said, you full of, I said, why? He said, you're late. He said, if it's the white man, you wouldn't be late. And I got cut. And I said, never again. Tell me what? Yeah, I was embarrassed because he was right. I'm never late. He said, you full of crap. You ain't about this. And it bothered me.
Hey, Bishop, can I share a little anecdote?
Check. Hey, the reason I said it turned Bishop into an animal, because I fell under the machete for the bishop.
Oh,
myself.
You got one too, huh? Well, it wasn't me, but
we were in Africa. I think it was Uganda somewhere, and I was running late. Bishop said, look, we're going to be in the vehicle. The vehicle is going to be pulling off at 7 a.m. I got to the vehicle at 7:01. He told the driver to drive. I was literally running after the bus, waving my hand like this. Thank God the Most High put in the spirit to stop. But it was still embarrassing, but I understand the point of it. Some of y'all brothers are
You don't remember it.
Yeah, I remember
it. No, it wasn't about me putting the spirit to stop. We had to stop because it was a stop sign.
Oh,
because I was told
but that was the spirit. Hey, that was the spirit because the brother could have ran the stop sign.
I wasn't going to stop.
So
that happened in DR. Right? That happened in DR. Yeah. We was in the lobby. We was ready to roll. It was like 3 or 4 brothers. I think Captain Gabrielle was one of them too. They weren't downstairs, and you said, "Let's go." We jumped in. They had to take a cab to meet us at the spot, and it was like 45 minutes an hour. It wasn't like it was down the road. I said, "Oh snap." I said, man,
we about our Lord's business.
I'll make sure I'm there with Holy Bishop Kadai. We gotta make sure we on point. Let's go.
That's because of Bishop Nathaniel. Embarrassed me.
Think about the slothfulness in this thing about time. I didn't think we were going to be on this thing for a minute. This thing with time is really something else. You hear people talking about colored people's time and all of that. How many of y'all, by show of hands, have given a time for an event and you had to lie and say it was an hour or 2 hours earlier? That's a damn shame. You had to tell them because you got to compensate for Negro time.
That drives me crazy.
That drives me crazy.
Hey, you want to know what would drive you crazier? You gave the Negro time and they were still late.
And they were still late. And it was still late. And then I said, but and I'll be there. And I'm like, why we ain't starting yet? So no, I had to tell them that so that they can get here, and then we could start such and such. That's a shame. That's a shame. Go ahead.
But for Esau, y'all will be on time. You get in that cruise that says pulling off at 12. You ain't waiting. 12 o'clock is pulling off. It's not get on at 12. 12 o'clock is pulling off. Do we ever miss it? But for the Lord, we give the Lord secondaries. No.
I love to see people get left behind.
You don't know. That make me. I'd be like, yes.
I had a chance to see that thing.
And I hope your debit card don't work.
I had a chance to see that thing. I had a chance to see that thing at the airport. When them people said the gate is closed, damn it. That's it. They come running up. The gate will be closed in 2 minutes or whatever.
Paul, yeah, how many times did I pull off? I'll leave you. I'll leave my wife. I'll leave everybody. 3 o'clock, I'm looking right at you. I don't care. You feel. You'll learn.
That woman come running up because she wanted to go to Starbucks or something. She came back, and they had just closed the doors, and she was begging. And that woman said, you can either wait for the next one or get on that thing, the standby, whatever. And they just pushed her to the side. And I mean, the plane was still there.
Don't mean nothing.
Didn't mean a damn thing. Once they closed that damn door, that was it. And I loved it.
Hey, I love it. I'm letting it go. I'm good joke. I like to be early to things. I hate the last minute. So I went to the airport. I ain't far from late. I'm sitting at the gate. I see the plane right there, and I fell asleep. And when I opened my eyes, the doors closed. The plane was taking off. And I was sitting in front of the gate. Psychologically, in my mind, I cannot rest when I know I have to do something. I don't care. Thank the Lord, I have an internal clock that will not turn off. I wake up. It's called responsibility. I got something to do. I can't wait for somebody or somebody hold my hand. I don't need my wife to wake me up to tell me go to work. I don't need nobody. I got the Lord. I don't know. Please, I wake you up. You don't wake me up. Nah, ain't like that. You better be up all night if you want to move with me. But the point behind it is that if we're men and we all think like that, the job gets done. If I'm not where I say I'm going to be at a time, you would know far in advance, or I'm dead. That's the only time I won't be there. Well, he ain't sure because he's dead. Other than that, you don't have to worry about I'm going to communicate with you because it's not going to be BS while I'm not there. You understand that? It should be like that. We're the sons of God. Not no excuses. Nobody want to hear your excuse. Nobody cares. We don't care. We want the job done.
I got to say something because I know some of the brothers might be yellow, make me sad. Y'all might feel a certain way. But the brother that you was just talking about, because remember, on the Day of Atonement, it's a commandment that was supposed to go and afflict our souls and go to camp, right? So that's the law that he broke. Get 2 Samuel's real quick. Let's see how the mighty King David dealt with that.
That's it. Go one.
2 Samuel chapter 12, verse 16, please.
Yes, sir. 2 Samuel chapter 12, verse 16. David, therefore, besought God for the child.
So this is the punishment that came upon King David for his adultery. Go ahead.
And David fasted and went in and laid all night upon the earth.
Come on.
And the elders of his house arose and went to him to raise him up from the earth.
Come on.
But he would not, neither did he eat bread with them.
So he was fasting, trying to get the Most High to spare the child. Go ahead.
And it came to pass on the 7th day that the child died.
So now the child has died. Go ahead.
And the servants of David feared to tell him that the child was dead.
Read.
For they said, behold, while the child was yet alive, we spake unto him, and he would not hearken unto our voice.
Read.
How will he then vex himself if we tell him that the child is dead?
So David did all of this while the child was still alive, in hope that the Most High would spare the child. Read.
But when David saw that his servants whispered, David perceived that the child was dead.
So now the child is dead, and David knows it, and he knows about it. Go ahead.
Therefore, David said unto his servants, is the child dead? And they said, he is dead. Then David arose from the earth and washed and anointed himself and changed his apparel and came into the house of the Lord.
So he had enough sense to get up, wash himself. The child is dead. There's nothing you could do. come into the house of the Lord and worship. Read on.
And worshipped.
Uh-huh.
Then he came to his own house.
Uh-huh.
And when he required, they set bread before him,
Mm-hmm.
and he did eat. Then said his servants unto him, What thing is this that thou hast done? Thou didst fast and weep for the child while he was alive. But when the child was dead, thou didst rise and eat bread.
Read on.
And he said, While the child was yet alive, I fasted and wept. For I said, Who can tell whether God will be gracious to me, that the child may live? But now he is dead. Wherefore should I fast? Can I bring him back again?
That's the mindset all of us got. And I know some of you, this sounds harsh. Nah, this is how men move. Like Bishop Kenai said, this is greater than ourselves. It's greater than our children. It's greater than our wives. People die every day, B. People die every day. But God's mission has to go on. Read on.
I shall go to him, but he shall not return to me.
That's the point. That's the mindset we got to have. And that's the same mindset that the officer of 10 should have had.
20.
Officer of 20 should have had, but he didn't.
You may make 20 men just like him. Ah, come on, please. Give me a stroke.
So that time component is super serious. If you're talking about running the planet, the Most High ain't gonna give us the planet if we don't know how to operate time. How in the world you gonna set up servants to tell them to do X, Y, and Z at this time, and then get the next group of servants to do that if we don't even understand time? This is like a real thorn in my backside every time I hear a situation where people talk about they just can't do it because colored people's time, and that thing really burns me up. I detest that like a sickness because it just doesn't make any sense. You gotta compensate and give CPT time, as they call it, just to get people to. You gotta ask yourself why. It's because people be BSing. And they don't want to stop their BS to deal with what the Most High wanted to do. They want to stretch their BS as long as they can. And then give a little teeny bit to doing God's work. That's what it be. I don't want to stop watching video. I don't want to stop playing video games. I don't want to stop. That's what it be. Be dumb, stupid mess like that. He's on a damn game console, and he want to play all the way until he got very minimal time to get to do what he's supposed to do.
You think he's going to take that PlayStation to the kingdom?
Yeah, stuff like that. This is crazy. But we know how to deal with time when it comes to Esau.
Yeah.
Esau give you your utilities, give you your electric, give you your gas, water. You monitor how much time you keep those things on, don't you? Huh? Or do you just let your bathtubs just run? You will see a hell of a bill coming in.
You know when to pay for it, too.
And you're going to want to pay for it. The electric bill, you watch all that. You're like, oh. We got to, I don't care about the PlayStation. We got to slow it down. These are the things, when it comes to Esau, because you know he'll turn it off. But when it comes to us, I'll get there when I get there. No, those days are over. The day of the Geechee is gone. It's gone. We ain't dealing with it no more. We're trying to get to this kingdom. We're trying to move this nation forward. I wanted to do this class because, and I mean, I didn't really go heavy into it, but I want us to really focus on being real men. Bishop Kanai, you hit it right on the head. We're men of God. We're the children of the Most High. God fashioned us behind him. How dare we come and turn into a degenerate plant of a strange vine unto him? And he made us. Come on, man.
Leave all that black stuff outside. Nobody wants to see
we
it.
don't want that thing. All right? All right, Israel.
Well, how you say that again? How you say tie in Spanish? Llanta. Friggin' black tire. God damn it. God damn llanta.
Right.
Mala sangre.
Yes, sir. Captain Shem, you anybody got anything you want to bring out?
Hey, just speaking of the vision, I remember when I first came in, and Bishop Yawasop, Bishop Nathaniel had set up policies and procedures, and to see the culmination and the fruits of those procedures is just amazing. And we're at a new level now because as we evolve in the stewardship and all the programs, whether it's decor, whether it be whatever office, we should all want to keep the optimum health, because a lot of you do no good in your office if you're taking metformin and your diabetes too, which can be reversed, or your high blood pressure or your obesity. That's got to stop, and it's going to stop. It's going to start first within the next 2 years with every one of you ranking men. And when you get there, we're just going to look. And they're going to get in order. So the vision is we're going to fix our health so we can continue to evolve to the next level in every office, whether it be fire safety, and then with office number 32 within the stewardship program. We must take care of our health, Israel. And there's a litany of scriptures that deal with that. Okay, so just, brothers, we got the zone set up, red, yellow, and green. Get right or get left. Be a part-time Israelite at camp. All right, so stay focused, stay motivated. Let's motivate each other. It's not to destroy you, it's to push us forward with help. That was it.
And with that, we say shalom, Israel. Happy Feast of Tabernacles. Happy Sabbath. Shalom.
We used to scream black power while heroin was pushed. But at the end of the day, nothing's in vain. IUIC has been given a vision. The tents of Judah has risen. Many has attempted the mission, minor murmuring, omitting, and missing the mark. Just reading that he had the flame of fire in his eyes gave us the spark. We on Paul's mission. We out on the road, purple and gold, from Mexico, Cuba, Haiti, Ghana, Sierra Leone. 144,000 boots banging, concrete crackling. These are how men repented at heart. The scriptures is proof. IUIC, we deliver the truth.